Hello, hello. Alright, so I guess we'll jump back from the beginning since I've been talking to myself this whole time. Thank you for letting me know, Sir James. So, over on futures, we did drop down. We do have that descending channel. The descending channel is a bullish pattern. That bullish pattern can take us further up. Our stochastic is pulling back. Our RSI is weakening. VWAP is favoring bearish. Momentum is dropping. And money flow is starting to pull back. So I would exercise caution. That could end up making us continue to sell off if we do not see a reversal on lower time frames. The 4 hour, we do have 3 touches to the top on this channel. So I would exercise caution. That does mean the channel may not break forward, because you would want to see a break forward on that third touch. That being said, if we do see a break forward, watch for that break forward, a pullback to the top of your channel, and then a bounce forward. On that bounce forward, that would be where you would get in and trade. Usually that's how you would trade this pattern. Most patterns you trade on the retest. So we'll jump back to Bitcoin because that's really all there was different on futures. We are pulling back to this 300 EMA. This 300 EMA is a critical support. I appreciate it a lot. So if we break this support level, we likely would break down and push down toward our 51.4 area. I would watch very close. If we break that 51.4, we do still have that gap on futures right around like 20K from the bear market. So remember, gaps do have an 80% likelihood to fill. So if we lose these gaps, that's our next area, or the support levels of our 50K range. That's like our next level we would pull back toward. Our RSI is starting to drop down, stochastic is weakening. VWAP is favoring bearish, momentum is dropping, and that money flow is starting to break bearish, so I would watch that VWAP. If that VWAP continues to favor bearish, momentum will drop down, money flow will remain in the red, and we would see that further sell-off, breaking that EMA level. And remember, if we break that, we will lean more bearish. Over on total, we were pushing down. I remember we skipped that, so we are staying below this EMA. We are starting to see it push down. We are staying in our bearish continuation. If that bearish continuation continues to favor more bearishly on lower time frames, we will continue to drop down, possibly to lower zones. That 2 hour, we are a little more bearish. We are struggling to get above that neutral. 1 hour, we are starting to favor a little more bearish, but we have higher lows with a higher high. So watch if that higher high can stay above that neutral. If it can, we could push forward. So sorry to get off topic, but we'll jump back to Bitcoin for the 4 hour. We are seeing the lower highs. The lower lows we have as well. These really don't connect like they do on futures, so they don't create the same channel. Our stochastic is dropping down. RSI is starting to pull back. VWAP is starting to favor bearish. We did break bullish, but that wave was not very long. It kind of peaked bullish and then dropped down just as quick as it rose up. So it didn't last in the bullish territory, and now we are starting to see a sell-off due to that. Momentum is dropping. Money flow is remaining bearish. If the lower time frames do not gain bullish momentum, we likely would continue lower. Over on our 2 hours, stochastic is dropping away. RSI is pulling back. That VWAP does want to break that neutral, but it's starting to struggle, so I would watch very close. If it rejects here, we could see momentum continue lower. That would bring money flow lower, and that would continue to weaken higher time frames and make us drop toward that 52K. Over on the 1 hour, stochastic is starting to pull back. Our RSI is starting to pull back as well. We are below our EMA band, and we are struggling to get back into it. So that does mean we likely could continue lower. I would watch if we do not hold where this candle wick is. Remember, wicks are like gaps, so they do tend to fill. If we do not bounce after filling that wick, then we would continue lower. Our VWAP does have a higher low, but we need a strong higher high if momentum is going to push forward and money flow is going to reverse. Otherwise, if that VWAP rejects here, momentum will break down, bringing money flow lower, weakening those higher time frames. So over on graph for the daily, we kind of spiked up and then just dropped down here. We are below that 14,316, and we are starting to pull back right around that support level, that bottom of our support range. So if we do not hold in this range, remember we would have that 1157 next. Stochastic is dropping away, RSI is pulling back, VWAP is favoring bearish, momentum is dropping down, and money flow is starting to push down. So I would exercise caution here. Over on the 4 hour, we do have lower highs with lower lows. The highs and lows are somewhat starting to connect here. You could call that like a freak breakup. And then you would have 3 touches to the top, 2 touches to the bottom. So again, that is a descending channel that does tend to push you forward. But because we did not break on that third touch to the top, I would watch very close if we approach the bottom level of this channel. Our stochastic does want to pull back, RSI is selling off due to the stochastic pulling back, so if that does not reverse, our RSI will lead price lower. VWAP is favoring bearish, momentum is breaking down, our money flow is favoring bearish as well due to VWAP favoring bearish, so watch that VWAP close. If it does not reverse soon, we will see money flow remain bearish, and that will weaken our 4-hour and the daily. And if they are more weak, we have higher probability of breaking to that bearish scenario. So over on the 2-hour, we did fill a gap we had, and then we just crashed back down. So that's why those gaps are an important area to watch, because if we did make it bounce and continue forward and break resistance, we could have seen a push forward, tried to break EMA levels, but because we got rejected by that resistance that gap created, we are seeing a bit of a sell-off. Our stochastic is dropping, RSI is pulling back, VWAP does have lower lows and lower highs, momentum is pushing down, and money flow is favoring bearish, so I would exercise caution. Over on the 1-hour, RSI is pulling back, our stochastic is favoring bearish, but we are trying to get a little bit of a bounce, so watch that stochastic close. If it can hold above 30, RSI could bounce and price could push forward. Momentum does want to make a bounce here. We do have a green dot signaling that it does want to push up, so watch that VWAP close. If it stays above neutral, that green dot could signal momentum will push forward, giving our money flow strength and making money flow go from red to green, meaning people are buying more than they're selling. And when they're buying, price goes up. So over on Ankr for the daily, we are overall pushing our resistance areas. We did break that 2338. RSI is pulling back, stochastic is dropping down, our VWAP is favoring bearish, momentum is dropping, and money flow is favoring bearish. Watch that VWAP close, it could continue to drop that money flow, and we could continue to drop toward our 2020. Over on the 4-hour here, we do have those lower highs and lower lows. They do not connect like everything else, so we do not have a descending channel. We have more of that bearish continuation where they do not connect, and that could continue to drop you down. Stochastic is starting to pull back, RSI is weakening, VWAP is favoring bearish, momentum is dropping, we do have lower lows with lower highs. Our VWAP is trying to get a higher low, so watch that VWAP. That VWAP is very indecisive. We got a lower high, now we have a higher low. If we reject that neutral, we likely would see momentum remain bearish, money flow would pull back and price would drop. However, if that VWAP breaks that neutral and holds, momentum could push up and money flow could gain strength. Over on the 2-hour here, we are overall rejecting that EMA level, staying below it. RSI is pretty flat, stochastic is dropping down, and VWAP does have higher lows. Watch if we can break the neutral for a higher high. That green dot momentum does suggest we are trying to do so. So if we can stay above the neutral here, we could create a bullish trend to bring momentum higher and give money flow strength over time. If we do that, we could see higher time frames reverse and try to retest that 2338. Over on the 1-hour, we do have a gap to the upside. Remember, they have an 80% likelihood to fill. We have several here. We have one right here, right around that 2312, and one right here around that 2265, as well as that 2408, and the other ones we've covered this week. Stochastic does want to push up, RSI is pushing forward, VWAP does want to hold bullish, momentum is pushing up, money flow is pulling back. So I would watch that VWAP. It does want to favor a little more bullish. If it can stay above neutral, momentum could get the push we need to see money flow go green, and that would give us the push to fill those gaps and see a run up. So over on XRP, if I can get to the daily here, we are seeing a retest of the 54 like we did warn. We are starting to break that 300 EMA, so I would exercise caution. If we do not see a strong green candle here, it's likely we could end up dropping down. Remember, we have around like this 48 cents, we have around 50 cents, 52 cents, those three support levels, and then we have our 38. So there's quite the drop after 48. Stochastic does want to pull back, RSI is starting to weaken, VWAP does want to favor bearish, momentum is pushing down, and money flow is starting to favor bearish. So watch that VWAP because that money flow is green, but it's starting to pull back. If that money flow continues to deepen into red, we would see a sell-off, so I would watch that. Over on the 4-hour, we do have lower highs with lower lows. They don't quite connect here as well, so again, exercise caution. RSI is weakening, stochastic is dropping away. That VWAP is favoring bearish, momentum does want to push up, and money flow is weakening. If we kind of scroll back here, we are below Fibonacci level, right around that 54,845. So if we do not break above that and hold, we're likely going to continue lower. Over on the 2-hour, we'll fix that Fibonacci for you, by the way. Over on the 2-hour, we are overall pushing down toward that 54. We are trying to get indecision candles, so I would watch Those are coming after trying to break our EMA and failing to do so. RSI is flat, stochastic does want to bounce. VWAP is trying to break that neutral. I would watch for a higher high. If we get a higher high with higher lows, momentum could curl. But if we fail to cross this neutral here, we will see momentum bring money flow lower, and that would cause higher time frames to start to push down. Over on the 1 hour, stochastic looks like it wants to curl. RSI is pretty flat, so watch that stochastic. That RSI isn't far behind following. VWAP is bullish, but that wave's not very strong yet, so if we curl here, I would watch for a rejection of that neutral and bearish favor. If we see that, momentum would remain bearish, money flow will remain in the red, and we will continue to push down, breaking that support level and pushing to our other supports. Finally, if there's no requests over on ALGO for the daily, yeah, we could do the XRP BTC pairing at the end of this, so we'll take that request right after ALGO here and any other requests that we do have. So over on ALGO, we are rejecting our EMA, continuing to drop away. Stochastic does want to break down. I would watch, we do have orange above blue. That means we could see a rejection here. Our side does want to pull back. VWAP is favoring bearish. Momentum is continuing lower, and money flow is favoring bearish, so I would exercise caution and watch that VWAP. Over on our 4 hour, we do have lower highs with lower lows. They don't quite connect in my opinion. So again, this could be more of a bearish continuation that could bring us toward that 1032. So quite the drop. Remember, that's also close to all-time lows. So if we visit that area, there could be further sell-off. Our stochastic does want to make a bounce. RSI is trying to push forward, so watch that stochastic. If it bounces, RSI could follow and price could jump up. VWAP is favoring bearish overall. That break to the bullish side wasn't very strong and didn't last very long. It was a consistent high, but it wasn't very long lasting. Momentum is dropping away and money flow is favoring bearish. Over on our 2 hour here, we are seeing those lower highs and lower lows. They may connect here a little better. You could draw, if I could get that tooltip out of my way, could draw, may not connect, depends on where this plays out. RSI is pretty flat. Our stochastic does want to push up, but we're starting to curl, so keep an eye on it. VWAP does want to break that neutral, but it does look like we could round away, so watch it very close. Momentum does have a green dot, but if that VWAP rounds away, that green dot will get invalidated. Over on our 1 hour here, we are trying to hold above our green EMA, so I would watch. If we can break that blue EMA and hold, we will continue further. Our VWAP is trying to push forward. We do have higher highs with higher lows, so we have a slight bullish trend here that can push momentum and money flow further if this bullish trend maintains. Stochastic does want to push up, and RSI is trying to get a little bit of lift off there. So, sorry about that. Not too familiar. There we go. Usually I use like a tablet version, so XRP BTC. So we could use Binance, I guess. There's also Kraken. Kraken's a little more popular, I guess, so we'll jump on there. So we can do the full breakdown here. We do look pretty decent. This could be a rising triangle here, depending. We have a rising bottom, and then we do have pretty consistent tops. You could say there's a couple of freak breakups. Overall, most of the candle wicks are touching this area right in here. So you could call that a rising triangle. You could also call it a symmetrical triangle if you want to cut these down. So it depends on how you want to look at it. Remember, TA is an art form. This could end up pushing this pair up above that 300 EMA, right around this 1137. That could be positive. Again, that would mean XRP would do better than Bitcoin. Stochastic does want to push up. RSI is pushing forward. VWAP is staying bullish. Momentum is pushing up, and money flow is in the green. So overall, we do look pretty strong here. Over on the 4 hour, we are above our EMA band, starting to push forward. So this is the opposite of what we're seeing on the charts. This is a continuation above our EMA band, which means the bulls are in more control than the bears. That does give our pattern to the upside a little bit more favor. Our stochastic does want to round. RSI is starting to pull back. VWAP does have lower highs, so I would watch that close. If we favor bearishly here, we are breaking bearish. So if we favor bearish, we could see momentum continue lower and bring money flow away. That could invalidate our pattern. Again, usually you trade on the break up, a retest, and a push forward. Ideally, you would not have gotten that in this instance back here. You would have missed out and been like, oh, that doesn't work. But you'd rather miss out there than get caught like buying in here. hoping you're going to run up again like back here, and then seeing it sell off here, you sell off, and then you were at a loss. So if anyone's with us wondering trading strategies, that's a little tidbit there. But we are staying within our pattern. Stochastic is trying to overall weaken. RSI wants to push forward. Momentum is weakening. VWAP is breaking bearish. We do have a higher low, so watch for a higher high. If we get higher high, momentum would remain bullish. Money flow could continue up, and that will strengthen higher time frames. However, if that VWAP rejects here, we could see momentum break down, and money flow could start to reverse over time. Over on the 1 hour, we have a lot of gaps here. So like I said, gaps fill. So this is a very good example. You can look at every single gap here. He pretty much jumped up here, filled this here. He jumped, crashed down here, filling that gap. He did run up. You created a few gaps doing so, and then you drop down filling them. So that shows how those gaps kind of work and how you can use them to trade. Not financial advice, nothing I say is. But Stochastic wants to round away. RSI is pulling back. VWAP does want to break that neutral. Momentum is starting to push down. We do have a lower high, so watch that VWAP. If that VWAP breaks our neutral and then we see consistent or lower lows, it's likely momentum could start to favor bearish and money flow would start to reverse. That would put our pattern in jeopardy. But if that VWAP can stay more bullish and we can prevent a breakdown, so watch that VWAP to kind of flip bullish. If we do break bearish, it's okay. But you would want to watch it gain momentum as we approach the bottom of our pattern. If we see that VWAP continue to drop as we approach the bottom, then Bitcoin could do better than XRP. Thank you for your question, James. Thanks for your help. I can't get words out tonight, on top of not being able to be heard. But thanks for your help. I appreciate you. Appreciate all of you. Have a great night.